Praise the Lord, good people. Um, this is the day the Lord hath made. We rejoice, glad in it. I see in the comments, would you shout at some people in the comments? Would you do me a favor? Go to your platform, social media platform, and share, like, and share so others may experience it. It's going to be good tonight. Listen, have you all been enjoying the relationship IQs on Wednesday? Say something in the chat if you've been enjoying. Have you been enjoying it? Have you been enjoying it?
I have.
Tell me what you like about it.
That I'm the guest.
Are you the guest?
Yeah.
You are. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I love it that it is hi Chris, that's my son. I love that it is engaging and it's stimulating people's thoughts and emotions regarding their capacity to grow in relationships of all facets.
Also, you got a lot of messages
Oh yes.
concerning it.
Well, I was so just really, I think, overwhelmingly happy to see how so many people regarded us or the teaching to be so significant. And I asked some why, and it was just thought provoking, something to make them see themselves in a different light and perspective of others. Um, Learning about boundaries, learning how to love oneself, learning how to spend time with oneself.
Yeah.
So that is really geek. And I am wearing my honorary 5x5 t-shirt. I just want 5x5 to see that. Yes. Thank you.
um Again, I think it's important, we show a level of transparency that I think people like and want. Our situation isn't perfect. Our lives aren't perfect. Our relationship isn't perfect. Um, Matter of fact, it takes a lot of work because we are opposites in so many facets. So it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of focus for the relationship to work. Not only that, we're not just talking about being in a relationship as married couples. Last week we talked about friends. How many enjoy friends? Like, tell me one thing you got while I'm talking. Put it in the comments. Check the comments, babes. What blessed you about friends? I like that one more, even the more, because um I think for a long time I wasn't a good friend, not just to you, period. Um, my personality. If I'm with you, or me, I'm down with you. I mean, I'm gonna rock with you. And if I'm with you, we're gonna be good. I'm not the type of person that's gonna show you that I'm not interested, don't want to be here. I have coof. I'm not gonna be that kind of person. But if I don't have to go to the meeting or if I don't have to show up, I'm fine. If you cancel on me, I promise you I ain't gonna be mad. Like, has anybody besides me ever was so happy that it was canceled? You just got so yeah, it's like, oh shoot, God, I ain't gotta go. So friends was very important because I realized I wasn't a good friend. Um, and through you and me really challenging myself, I understand now how to be a friend. And I have to keep checking myself, and it's a constant maintenance. It's a constant maintenance and management so that I don't easily resort back to old ways. How many are being blessed by the weirdos all this month? We had a rehearsal last night, and the people so geeked and amped. You don't want to miss Sunday. You need to get up there on time. Don't miss Sunday. Sunday is going to be off the hook.
It's just seeing all the creative stretch, not all, because there's so many more that just haven't found their voice yet. But to see Danielle, I mean, her dope. Stage presence, so just her initiating that type of like crowd interaction without it being one. I love the growth. I'm here for it.
And we're already soliciting and inquiring for people if you want to be a part of the things we do as creatives, you have to join the creative chat in the app or touch base with Anaya, because we're already getting people that, because we're preparing for Easter Sunday. It's going to be powerful, and we are getting our stuff
I'm having a
together.
speech. I have an Easter
We ain't
speech.
doing no Easter speeches. We are ready for Easter, and we're ready to rock and ready to for it. It's gonna be so dope. It's gonna be amazing. So I'm excited about it. Don't forget to invite someone Sunday. Please invite someone to church. Bring them with you. Trick them. Whatever you got
They
to
don't
do.
trick them.
Kidnap them. Throw them in the car and just keep driving until you get to the church, and they ain't got no choice but to come in with you, because people are getting saved.
Absolutely.
And lives are changing, and we're doing salvation altar calls, and the altar is full of people getting saved. So this evangelism month has blessed me. I've all my first ordination was an evangel as an evangelist. I was never ordained a minister, any of those. I was ordained an evangelist, and I started evangelist ministry in 97. And in 1999, it was Joshua Generation Outreach Ministries. What we do on Sunday mornings, feeding our friends with homes, I was doing that in 98, 99, 97, where we were set up in different places. I remember setting up on Mercy Drive and different places where we give away food and clothing. So I've been doing it for about 30 years, and I love doing it. And this is passion for me this whole month. All right. So if you just came on, do me a favor and share this, and also like this on your social media platform. Share it, like it, post it, all that good stuff. We're talking about supporting who you love, who you love in tough seasons. Um, and I think the reason why I think this is going to be really, really good and really important is because I don't think many people know how to support those they love in tough seasons when they're going through a tough season. And we're going to deal with certain areas. We have the illustrious extraordinaire with us who has so much wealth of knowledge concerning relationships. I often tell people, like, not that she was with a lot of people, but she was single longer than me. And so I've only had really two real relationships, long standing in my life. And that is my ex-wife and my current wife. So my expertise in different relationships is not vast. And that's why she had to put me up on game, because I just swore I knew what to do with relationships. And she had one day, she just busted my little bubble. She was so harsh with me, y'all. Just bruised me. You ain't had two relationships your whole life. Just bruised me.
Oh, wow.
But I understand.
I appreciate it. I love it.
I
Just the knowing
understand.
that,
Go.
I know what I'm talking about, and you don't.
You relish in that.
I do.
All right. So I want to talk about supporting who you love in tough seasons, because I think sometimes we support the wrong way, or we are enablers and call it support. We are codependent and call it support. We are, think we are doing what's right, and really that's not what the person needs. We're giving them what we want instead of what they need. And that's in a marriage, that's with children, that's with siblings, that's with friends. So today we want to talk about, how do I support? How do I stand with someone? How do I be there for someone in a tough season? Now I wanna open it up with this one. This one's off the cuff. It ain't what I sent you, because and this is transparent, because I felt that I sucked at supporting. When my wife first came here, she jumped in like a trooper and just started being what we need, what the kids need, what I need. And it was a breath of fresh air, because I was worn out. I was tired. I was disconnected, disheveled. It just messed up. And when she came in, she stepped in like a trooper and really took up slack. And I got used to it, so much so that I stopped. And I didn't take in consideration of the sacrifice she had made, or the position she was now taking from where she come from. So she's going to a new city, left her family, left her familiarity, left her surroundings, left her job, came, and yeah, it's what you're supposed to do as a wife, but I wasn't mindful of the what she had to do to stand next to me. And so I was unplugged and just thinking like, okay, come on, let's go. Like, and I remember she had a miscarriage, and well, I don't know if this was the second or the third one. And with my dumb self, I ain't even thinking of the emotional toll, the loss she just had. Of course, I was like, oh man, I'm sorry. But the fact that I was like, okay, you getting ready for church was later. I understood it was a blow to her, which changed me, because I don't get mad if my wife take a Sunday off. Y'all take Sundays off, so I don't get mad if she takes a Sunday off. It's when we had 2 services, she said, I ain't going to that one, I'm going to that one. I said, that's fine. I understood, but I want to say I didn't support you when you first came. Describe some of those emotions and feelings. There's probably a man watching us now, and ladies, you should grab your man. We're talking about relationships. I can't understand why, if you are a husband and a wife and you attend our church, you don't grab your husband and say, you need to come up here, because Apostle and Pastor K talking about some good relationship stuff, and we need to watch it. I can't understand why you wouldn't. Don't make any sense to me. I digress. But how did it make you feel, number one? And what do you think? 2 things. Okay, how did it make you feel? And how can that person who's going through a tough season, because you went through months of depression and you were lost, you know what I'm saying? Didn't know purpose. I mean, lost. And I was taking off, and you like, what's going on? So how could I have better served? First, describe the feelings. How could I better have been there for you? And how could a woman or a person who's going through a tough season can better translate what they need to the person who's standing with them?
Oh, well, the third and the first coincide, because the feelings that I had were first like shock that this is what you would ask of me, or you're not considering, and then sitting in that and not really knowing how to communicate that, because I what I'm learning is many sit in their feelings and they converse with themselves. And the answer, the problem, I'm saying, he doesn't know that I'm hurting, that I'm going through this. Why would he even ask me? He knows better. We always assume the person knows. We always assume the person knows better. We always assume that if that were me, they're not you. And I think that for me, it took me to...
Psychology taught me you don't ever say, if that was me.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you'll sit in the seat of scorn, and a root of bitterness tries to grow. And it's because you think that you have to go back to childhood to teach them, but it's just repetition and learning how to express without letting the emotions and feelings...
How you do that?
Take that.
Sitting in it.
First, sitting in it and acknowledging it for yourself, and then realizing,
like, what? I'm hurt. This bothers me.
Yes. And just expressing that without thinking that I'm going to crush your little bubble. Because big-hearted, kind-hearted givers, we don't even like to give reprimand. We don't like to give correction. We don't like to give what is needed. We'll give what we want to give because that's easy for us. But to give something like constructive criticism, now I'm very comfortable with that.
Mhm.
But it took me a time, especially in new relationships and friendships. Now, just right off the cuff, if I'm uncomfortable, I have to let someone know that. So again, sitting in it and learning how to express myself. And I didn't get it right at first. It took me a few trials that I failed, but eventually it was to really see that that was not your intention.
Mhm.
And so that is what one should consider, but that's further down with my teaching.
How does one, because for a long time you even expressed it to me that you had resentment toward me for that, you held that. Why does one hold that, especially women and their makeup? Why do they hold that, and how do you move past the resentment? Because we
for
be sitting
this
there,
for
okay,
this woman,
okay,
the resentment only came because
I want to
bringing
acknowledge.
it to your attention, you wouldn't acknowledge that.
Mhm.
There was always a reason. To me, those are excuses. And I know that even feeling like I'm throwing you up under the bus, that was not my intention. But how do you allow one to relay their truth and their feelings without acknowledging and validating that?
So let me put a lot of the ladies up on game about a man. When you have a man that really love you like me and love my wife, I'm trying so hard to be right for her, and not realizing that my wife doesn't require me being right all the time. She requires me just acknowledging. And I think for the longest, like a man, we don't want to be wrong. We'll like, why did you forget to do this? And we send that guy, like, oh shoot, I done messed up again. This is our mindset. Like, man, I done messed up again. Like, oh my God, let me see how, it wasn't really like, and then I start going, it wasn't. And that's when we go down that rabbit hole of trying to not to soften the blow, when you had to teach me that ain't what I want.
Right. Nobody is perfect. And the worst thing to do is present perfection in a time that you really need to be.
No, we just don't want to fail.
And I don't just think that's men, it's women too. I don't want to fail you, but I want both of us. It's the reciprocity that I want you to acknowledge when you're sitting in that seat, and vice versa. That's something that couples or relationships, any type of relationship, learn how to receive rebuke and correction.
No, that's the key. That, like, I don't want to be in that seat of correction or being like, it feels like punishment. So I'm like, but what I've had to learn, and I'm learning that
that's a seat of
learning. Come clean. No, we don't see it like that, man. I have to come clean with it. And if there is some consequences, I got to sit in there.
Right. Because if you change the word,
that's tough for a dude.
Right. But that is pride, that you then would take that as that's tough.
It is tough for a dude.
Well, but it's different if we teach our young people, especially our young men at a young age, that the seat of correction can be one of a seat of learning.
Now that's good there. If I change my mindset, that's not a
bars.
Oh, stop it. It's not a seat of correction. It's a seat of learning. Yes. I can learn. It don't have to be punishment.
Right.
It don't have to be punishment.
But we have for
a man view it as punishment. Because I'm just trying to put you up on game. Like, a man, men grew up, especially in a house, if they had a father or whatever, even if they had just their mother, the mother would put more responsibility. Okay, watch out for your sisters. I'll be back later on, or take that trash out. Not that the girls don't have stuff, but the more protection, covering, they'll give that. If he's at any age to do it, he got the responsibility. Now, if you got a daddy, it's another level. Now, boy, you need to make sure. Now, boy, you need to do it. And then he go with his girls. Come here, daddy, baby. So we grow up with the responsibility, and I think that's what hurts us. Like, I failed in my responsibility. I'm just putting you up on game. So expound on what that mean to you.
I'm not that boy, so I don't know what that feels
like. I'm
like.
telling you though.
I know, but at what point for somebody like me that comes in that hasn't had all of that. And all I want you to do is just acknowledge. I know what you're saying, little boy who is now married, but you got to then change your hats, because that little boy now needs to be corrected as a man. And that is not to strip him from who he is to actually build him up.
Y'all ladies who on here now, you got a man you dating or a boyfriend. If you don't snatch him and make him come on here and hear this, because I shouldn't have to tell you in the office when we telling you this right now. This will bless you. Okay, let's dive in. How do I support someone who's in a tough season? Number one, what's the difference between support and enablement?
Oh, that's good. Support is about helping someone in a way that empowers them to grow and to become independent and self-sufficient. I'll repeat that. Support is helping someone in a way that empowers them to grow, to be self-sufficient and independent. Enablement happens when we prevent someone from facing consequences or taking responsibility, which can lead to dependency and unhealthy patterns.
No, that's so good. So sometimes if a mother has a son that she doesn't allow him to face what he has to face, she's enabling.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That does not allow for, like, a friend struggling with job loss. They may need encouraging, and you can give them tips on how to do their resume and things like that. Enabling is giving them money without expectation of them changing or doing anything different about that job situation.
Wow. That's crazy work.
Because now you're allowing them, you're helping them develop this unhealthy connection to you. And that's why the old saying is, be careful what you give people, because they'll start loving your hand and not your heart.
Now that's so good. And so many couples, I believe so many parents or even friends think they are supporting their person, and they really are enabling
them. Yes.
Read that support again. Support is what?
Support is helping someone, empowering them to grow, to be independent, self-sufficient, and like stepping up to the plate.
We're going to do this together, but you're going to do this.
No, I'm encouraging you because I'm not doing it with you together. I'm giving you steps. Now, that's encouraging you. I can't do it for you. That's a form of enabling. I believe that you can walk. I've been seeing you walk since you were one. So go out there, walk it out.
I'm saying if they have to go and face a tough situation, I'm thinking enablement is, no, you ain't got to face that, bump it, they good. But support, that's a form of support would be you going up, I'm gonna walk up with you, but you got to do your thing, and I'll drive you to the place,
and I'll sit in the car.
I'll sit in the car.
Absolutely, because I'm your cheerleader, but I'm not the water boy. I can't go on the field with you. I can't go out there on the court.
The water boy is supporting.
Yeah, support, but only so much. Like when he can go on the court, a parent can't. Your boo thing can't. Thank you.
She said, "Thank you." This is real key. Don't miss this, family. Number two, number two is creating an environment to express. Let me explain that. I get a lot of men who will say, I can't get a word in, or my wife always cuts me off, or when I be trying to talk, she overtalks me, and the man is shut down. Not saying that's right, but I'm asking, how does one create, whether you are a parent with your children, friend, or spouse, how do you create an environment that people can freely express without people getting offended or defensive? This is an environment you can express. This is free. This is a safe place.
Well, we started out with the encouragement because that reinforces their voice, to let them know that matters, and self-expression is very valued. Also, too, with boundaries, you learn that you can express yourself without the fear of being criticized. You can express yourself without me personalizing it. You can express yourself as long as you stay respectful, stay honorable, being vulnerable. Share your own thoughts and feelings to create that space.
Yeah. Vulnerability
Oftentimes, I
breeds
include myself
vulnerability.
when
Yeah.
I'm speaking to someone, especially a young lady, when I'm saying, I see me in you.
Yeah.
You know, I did this at 13. I was, and if he did it for me, he will do it for you. And it's safe, then that makes it safe. Make it clear that what goes on here stays here, and all your emotions, I'm not gonna judge you, you know?
I think one of the challenges you and I had was you would share stuff, and granted, as a spouse, you needed affirmation, and more so as your pastor, I should have affirmed like I would do anybody else come. And I would just listen and process and say, and not really give an answer. And one of the things you would say is, even if you don't have an answer in that moment, acknowledging is important.
Very much
That
so.
makes a person feel free to express that they're not going to be talking to this wall. And sometimes, like you used to say, I don't want, I could talk to this wall if you just go sit there and listen to me. I want you to talk back to me.
Respond.
Respond.
Yes.
My personality is to listen and hear. But sometimes I think
you weren't
was
actively listening.
No, I think sometimes it was hid. That was so I can hide that I don't want to have this tough conversation right now, or I don't really want to talk about this right now. So I don't want to be rude, so I'm not going to walk away, but I'm going to sit here and indulge.
I would prefer you to tell me that I just don't want to talk about this right now, because to sit in silence and not respond to me is the rudest thing. One of the rudest things when it comes to communication, because that's a form of stonewalling, even if it is in a passive way, because your thought behind not responding is, I just really don't want to deal with this. Right. Instead of, with maturity in any relationship, anything worth having is worth having a conversation about.
And so when you talk about creating an environment of expression, I think it's important that, especially in the context of marriage, it has to be freedom to express. Me and my wife talk about everything from, everything, nothing's off limits, because, and that makes it easy to connect and grow, because, and to express, because the last thing, when it really hit me was this: I wanted to be my wife's best friend above anybody. Like, she could have other friends, but I'm the BFF, right? But I wasn't easy to talk to. So since I'm not easy to talk to, I couldn't be the BFF. And then when I would see her having to have conversations she want to have with me, with an auntie or a cousin on the phone, on the patio, I ain't like that. You see what I'm saying? Because she had to express, but that lets me know that she didn't feel free to express to me. And I had to change that environment. That wasn't something like her fault. It was, she didn't feel safe emotionally with me. See, that's why that's the one I want to insert with Freedom Express. Some men don't feel comfortable expressing, they don't feel safe with their wife, vice versa. Some wives don't feel safe with their husband. Why do you think that is so, and how can they change that?
One of the reasons why I think that is so is because we as children, especially our culture,
grab those questions.
We're not taught, or for the most part, sitting around and our humans, our adults, come and talk to us and then ask us. How many of us have gotten a question? Now, how do you feel about that? Mom is getting married. How do you feel about that? We're getting ready to move. How do you feel about that? You have to go to a new school, express yourself. Dope. They got into a fight and now they're home for 3 days.
Punishment.
And what happened? What made you? And I think that when we come into being an adult, we have not used those vocal cords, and the emotional IQ has not been up the ante for the sake of being an adult. And now you're looked at as like, that's so childish. You can't respond. And we can't look at it like that. I have to look and say, why wouldn't he not respond? Why would she shut down?
I don't think the child in us ever dies. Never. And so there are times when my wife is talking to me, but she's talking to the 12-year-old me, and then I could be talking to the 10-year-old her, and the 12-year-old me didn't have freedom of expression. See what I mean? Or the 10-year-old her didn't have anybody to express to. So I think it's something that has to be practiced. It has to be repetitive. You have to be bold to do it. Like I talked about, when my wife started crying, I immediately stopped what I'm trying to say, because the me, I don't want to see her crying. So when she's crying, I'm looking like, oh, this is over.
Well, let
me explain. I'm like, this is over. I don't want to, like, you crying, I'm done. You're right, I'm wrong. Let's move. And that was so unfair to her and to me. And so I've learned to persevere through, to be bold even in her tears, because their tears wasn't a sign of weakness. She's just sensitive and emotional. But she wiped them tears, and we keep talking and keep going and get to a desired end. Most cases get to a desired end. So I'm saying we have to learn. Many a times we have brought these childhood traumas into our adult relationships, and then the child starts responding instead of the one who walked down the aisle with the person.
Right.
And that happens, but you have to be honest about that, like, and talk about that. Like, maybe this the kid in me talking, but when you said that,
yes,
this is what it took me to. I had a flashback. If you ain't bold enough to talk like that with your spouse, you bold enough to have sex with them, but you ain't bold enough to have those kind of you bold enough to talk about the money, but you can't talk about that. That is where I think it would do a lot of couples some good. It'd be so helpful for their marriage if they got counseling, not marital, individual, so that you can come and be bold enough to talk about that stuff. You fall in love with your therapist because you tell them everything that you don't want to tell the person who you were in love with.
And it's also too, as children, with my mom being an educator, she really encouraged me to ask questions. Reading at a young age, I was able to comprehend very early. So she saw that. And my village, she taught my aunts, my grandma, nobody thought it was me being disrespectful if you lived in our house, because Chris is going to ask why. She's going to ask questions. And so to adults, the way we're taught is stay in a child's place. That's just lazy, low quality thinking. That's a low quality answer. That is a low IQ answer. And that's what we're taught. Because now, how many times do we repeat that to our kids? Hush, because I'm the mom.
Hush.
I mean, that's all that does is just stifle my voice.
It kills.
And then when I grow up, now
I don't know how to talk.
These other adults are telling me to express myself, and I don't know what that looks like. I don't even know what that sounds like. I don't know my voice.
I think, and I see Tanya Walker. I think the mistake that many couples make is when they're having problems, they get marital counseling. When I think they need individual therapy more before that. And because you don't have marital issues, you have individual issues that are now a part of your marriage. So it's important that y'all create an environment to express. Like, y'all ain't gonna crack jokes and laugh, and then when it's time to have a serious conversation, you can't talk. Like, y'all laugh all day, but when it's a serious issue, now you don't know how to communicate with each other. No, I think it's critical that you learn how to create an environment of expression, even with your children. In tough seasons, your child, before you jump on them because they have bad behavior or bad grades, if you would be with them in tough seasons, they'll be more open to communicate to you the real reason they're struggling. Because they're telling other people, they just can't tell you, because you're going to go off if their grades drop. You're going to go off if they get suspended. You're going to go off if they get in a fight. And when you are the one who goes off all the time, they will not communicate with you in tough seasons. that's when they shut the door, and now they're in their rooms and you don't ever see them out. They eat in their rooms, they go in their room, they don't even connect with the family anymore because they don't feel safe in that environment. It's paramount that you make the home an environment where they can ask questions about anything, as long as they're respectful. You can ask it. They should be able to ask. Like if the kid come and say, "Mama, why you got all them bags? And last week you said you ain't have no money. I heard you complain." "Oh, shut up. You can't tell me about." That's how they. "Oh, shut up. What you talking about? You don't know. Stay in child's place." No, they really telling the truth. They just
put
say
these in the closet. If they're in the trunk, PJ,
They
go
just-
put them in the closet.
They just no. They just need. They just young, but that's something the grown-up should tell you. Don't get mad because your children tell you that you got bad money management.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Talk to me, somebody. You have bad management. Number 3, respecting each other without trying to change each other. How do you respect each other? How do you respect each other without being insisting upon changing each other? Because the first thing I ask couples in counseling, can you marry him right now if he don't change anything?
Right.
Can you marry her right now if they don't change? If they can't say yes, then we need to pause this premarital and you need to work out that situation right there, because I can't help you with that.
Right. You got to see people as whole enough right where they are if they're different from you. Like what you just said. Are you whole enough right now for me to embrace what it is that you're carrying? Because is this too heavy for me? Let me decide that. Those are things of how I'm not going to change you, because if I see a pink flag in the beginning and I ignore it, the red flag that then comes and posts itself up with a metal stand and says, "I'm not going anywhere." Now you're going to want to change that. You're going to want to knock that metal stand down, and it goes more than just, because you accepted it in the first place. You got to accept that you can influence, but not control.
Explain that.
I realized when you told me, "Babes, you be making the kids say certain stuff," and it wasn't the case. I was an active listener, but I was enabling them because I spoke to you for them. Instead of what I had to learn is encourage them
to talk
when
to
I
me.
said, "No, don't come in here anymore."
Right.
Because if we're not gonna keep having these huddles if you're not gonna go out there in the field and talk to Dad. So it was learning that I can influence them in a way, and parents have to know that we can manipulate and for our good until they learn they can't. But it's a good thing when in parenting, especially little people, because then it's almost like steering. It's like the cattle with the shepherd dogs that keep them in place. That's what that is. They influence them to stay over here. They can't control them because an average cattle, a steer, can just kick a dog.
Can run them over.
They're not aware of that. It's how they've been taught. Replace judgment with curiosity. Like, ask yourself, why does he shut down like that? Why does he respond like that?
I like it.
And that's not a way that I need you to change, but I just need to assume, I don't want you to change, but I can just try to, from your perspective, consider.
When we say changing, you can challenge your mate to grow. We're not saying you don't say nothing, leave them alone. You can't. No. I've been in MAP for how long? We've been married. That's how long I've been in MAP. I've been in MAP. I'm going on my 13th, 14th year of MAP, right? So I've been in MAP forever, and she won't ever let me graduate.
Ever.
And I'm terribly hurt by that because I want to just graduate and not be in that class anymore. But you can challenge one. You should challenge one in love. Hey, honey, you know what I mean? I think you can do better with this or that. But to the point where you put one in a doghouse, to the point where you stop talking to them, to the point where I'll get out my face until you stop doing it. Now we're dealing with control. Now we're dealing with manipulation. And those are unhealthy ways to cause one to change, absolutely. Unhealthy tactics to cause one to change. I think it's important that you challenge your spouse, respectfully, but that can't be if you don't stop, I'm gone.
Right.
That's control. Because don't marry one. If you already thought that he was cheating and you still got married, you are not gonna get in that marriage ain't gonna change him from cheating.
No,
that marriage ain't gonna change it. If she already spent a whole bunch of money, spent all her money and one of yours before y'all got married, it ain't just gonna instantly she just, oh, I got a revelation. No, you saw that stuff and you still went forward in the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You ignored the what you call them, pink flags, not red. You ignored the pink ones. Mm-hmm. Pink ones turn red. Mm-hmm. And so it's important that you realize I have not been called to change my spouse. I respect her differences and difference of opinions.
Right. You got to recognize that love and respect don't require agreement just in a conversation, because your agreement may come a few days later after you've thought about it.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, we got to walk together and we are agreeing, but from the parameters of the psychology, we're saying that I can agree to disagree. So that doesn't mean that I don't love you.
Yeah.
That just, I don't agree with you.
So how does this make you feel? Because of the way my mind works, you smile because you know about it. How does it make you feel like you will be constantly trying to get me to see something, right? Then all of a sudden I come home one day and I got it. And I immediately made change. How does that make you feel? Inquiring minds want to know, how does it make you feel that my process of getting it goes that way and that's how it happens, instead of just being like, oh, that's right, let me change it. What do you think? What is that in me? Is that pride or ego? No, you
I was just giving you the straight
okay,
face.
You
like,
free too.
It at first it hurt, it stung, it punched, because all this time, and see you laughing now, I'm getting triggered.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Stop.
I'm sorry.
Stop
okay,
right
I'm sorry.
Okay, it is to say that over all this time, you think all this time, but nothing happens overnight. I had to learn that he knows exactly what I'm talking about, what I'm saying. I think the hurt came from the lack of acknowledgement with the pride. And so I didn't know how to let something go. Like, I know you hear me. I know that you understand.
Yeah.
And you're just too prideful to acknowledge that you don't know what to do, how to do it.
I don't know what to do in that moment.
And that just, it's like it set us back 8 spaces when really that could have hurled us 20 forward just by acknowledging. So it was the hurt, but it was with growth over time that I realized that a lot of times too, my delivery was not very good.
Say that again.
I will not.
Okay. I'm gonna take that one. I heard it. It's on camera.
Take it. You better rewind.
This one is big. Number 4. How not to lose oneself while supporting another. How do I not lose myself while supporting my child, while supporting my spouse, or supporting a friend? How do I not lose myself? Because sometimes we can get totally interwoven into one struggle. And it now, I use this example. It happened with your grandparents. It happened with mine. My granddaddy was the one who was ill and he was sick and my grandma was taking care of him. Out of nowhere, she passed away, messed everybody up. He lived 10, 12 more years, but she was his caregiver. So sometimes when you are taking care of someone else or supporting someone else, it can cause more damage to you than the help it brings to the other person.
Well, again, especially when it comes to parents and children and our culture, my mama is not going nowhere and to no home. They can stay with me. Those type. And yes, we can with help around the clock when you have come together as a village and you are going to work together. But for many people, it is not a village. It's just one, maybe two people, and they've lost themselves because they don't prioritize themselves and their well-being, to be able to last after they've been a caregiver. Set boundaries. Help without sacrificing your identity, your values, your needs. That's very important.
One of the things I learned with my ex-wife had mental illness. So one of the things I learned with trying to support and stand with her is, like, it was almost killed me. What I learned is it takes a village, not just with kids. It takes a village with grown people.
Yes.
It takes a village. Like the village it takes with me being married to you are the people I'm accountable to, my brothers, my spiritual brothers who I'm accountable to them, my pastor, to you. It takes a whole lot of people. When the worst mistake y'all can make as couples is just say it's us. I'm telling you, the worst mistake you can make is just me and you, babes. It can't just be just y'all two. There has to be some monumental figures in your marriage. If you don't have any, go get some, so that they can be, because you ain't going to be able to help her with everything. You ain't going to be able to help him. And it will give you breaks. You need breaks. The reason taking care of my ex-wife was 24 hours because the episode she was having. So I didn't take breaks. I didn't get breaks. I didn't take, there were no vacations. How can you go on them? And then I'm full-time ministry, pastoring, helping hundreds of people while I'm trying to help her. That's the reason I had high blood pressure. That's one of the reasons I had an aneurysm. That's one of the reasons all these things happen, because I am trying to support someone else and I lost myself. And I tell people that all the time. You are going to die if you don't learn how to have balance while you're trying to support someone who's hurting. I'm not sitting here all day with you. I am going to take a break from you. It's nothing wrong with allowing people, especially if you have folks who are elderly who need 24-hour care. You can't be their 24-hour care, especially you got to work and you have kids. There's nothing wrong with putting them in a facility that's good, that's going to stimulate them. They need friends. They don't just need to see you. I had a pastor friend, his son has schizophrenia, and they refused to put him in a home. He stay in that back room in their home, and they were just taking care of him like one of the animals. God, I don't want to be disrespectful or anything, but that he couldn't do anything. That pastor died of a heart attack because he was trying to be what he could not be for his son. It's just like my message. I text my mom and I said, you didn't have all of the pieces we need. You need to get that through your skull. She said she got it now. That visual on Sunday helped her understand, I was not created to build. I can't do this. God has to change.
Absolutely. So you have to maintain your own life, hobbies, friendships, just as you stated, and goals separate from your role as a supporter. So you got to know that you can care deeply without absorbing their struggles as your own. What my friend is struggling with, I'm not gonna go home and have insomnia about. I'm not going to break up relationships because I'm carrying my children. A lot of single women mess up because you have children who you have not trained, or you have trained them to depend on you. And now they're in an enabling state of mind, and woe be unto you that the man who findeth you is got to walk away because you're not readieth to be founded, because Billy and Lil Betty run your house. Whenever they call, you drop everything that you're doing. Whenever they need something, significant other or person who is pursuing me, I can't go to dinner tonight because my baby. I can't do this because I lent out to my sister. I can't do this because my brother. Those are things to where we lose ourselves. So we have to remind ourselves that the people who we support, Their struggles are their own. We can
Mm.
only be there to help and support. And then you have to remind yourself, being there for someone doesn't mean becoming them.
Ah, that's good,
I am
girl.
that you we lose
That is
our
good,
identity.
girl.
How many times do you see a spouse or someone that is the stronger one, and you have a very insecure spouse,
Yeah.
or one that feels entitled? You almost, it's like, oh, he don't mean that. Oh, she said this. When you see people talking and speaking over to help, oh, he didn't mean that. You're an enabler.
Yeah, you
Without
got to
even
speak
knowing,
for
you
them,
feel
and
like
they,
you have to do
oh,
that,
that's so
especially in
good.
parenting, because they do that because
So
they,
good.
in that moment, they feel that I didn't do the right thing, knowing that the child is
Exactly.
not equipped. Instead of, this is a teachable
That's
moment
true.
for little Billy and little Betty.
That's true.
You know, so you have to learn how to not make it be yours, and learn to inspire and cheer from the sidelines. I don't feel bad if I see somebody who I know that I've trained, you get back up. Like when I fell Saturday, my knees still hurt. See how you laughing? And this is a very teachable moment. And you're being very yellow. But I will teach you guys.
Okay.
But I fell Sunday. Now
Saturday. She sure fell too.
Now my leg is still, I cannot even move. You are
I'm
so
sorry.
immature.
I'm sorry. Very.
But I got up.
You did.
And all I wanted to know was, did I get her out? No, she wasn't out, but still I got back up. I didn't get out of the game. I didn't need somebody to say, oh, are you okay? And that's not gonna make a champion. That's not gonna make, and I'm a tough one like that.
Nick, did you take some of those questions that I asked you to grab? If y'all have questions, put them up there. Well, before I get to the last point, I think I seen a few over there, and I don't know if you got them. Okay. Yes, you did. I should have known you did. What happens when you come from a household that ignores issues and never communicated? So being quiet is safe for you.
That's just like what we said, when there's no validation. So now what happens is you have to go back to the little girl, and you have to assure her that her voice it matters. And although that you were ignored, little girl, now what you have to say, express yourself so the woman can emerge. And so even though being quiet has allowed you to survive, to go to thriving, you have to use your voice. So you have to know that you're not in that household anymore. Remember when I really had to teach myself that I am not this 13-year-old, I am not the 16-year-old in the house with my stepfather. So what I'm hearing is not coming from him. What I'm experiencing is not coming from that house. So that's the grown-up part, but I can always talk to the little girl and tend to her, nurture her.
I like it. What's the next one, Nick? I like it. What do you do when you are the stronger one in a marriage and it causes role reversal? Well, I think you have to refuse the role reversal.
I was about to say.
And that comes with communication. I think it's critical that you know who you are. You're not ready for marriage if you don't know who you are. Because when you don't know who you are going into a marriage, you will become someone else according to what they need, or how they make you feel, or the happiness you want them to have, or the happiness that you possibly want yourself. And I think that's dangerous, because if you don't know who you are, someone else will tell you who to be. And
or
it's
you'll
critical.
start emulating, what they want you to be and not who you really are.
Yeah, you're not going to reverse the roles. That's not how it's going to be. We're going to be who we need to be for each other in this marriage.
For instance, when we first got married, everything in me was, I'm going to get this house, I'm going to do this, I'm going to make it happen. And it was the Holy Spirit that really taught me how to be a submitted wife. Meaning, you are not going to go and overextend yourself again, because that's what you're going to have to do. You are not going to override this man's integrity. You are not going to overstep the boundaries, because why did you marry him if he could not be who you needed him to be?
Wow, that's so
but
good.
Because I was emulating
and then communicate.
But I was emulating what I saw. See, my mother's an independent, self taken care of, and gonna make it happen. Wherever we lived, she made it happen. Wherever she rode, she made it happen. That's so good. Those are things that I didn't look at like a slight. Oh, if I can go buy all of this, I can do that. But that was never going to make anybody who I was with be accountable and responsible. Remember when you said, when you start doing something for us as men,
we stop doing it. And you can't be so desperate to have someone that you don't communicate your expectations. Like you're not a basket case of sitting back and say, oh, I'm just so glad you picked me. No. That's not how we're doing, because I have choices. The number one choice is I pick myself. If you don't pick me, I pick me. So I'm good. But I want you in my life. I want you to be in my life, but I have to be who I am.
That's right.
And that's critical. I want you. Now, see, notice I didn't come with arrogance like I don't need you. I don't. No. I'm expressing I want you, but this is who I am. And if you don't want this person, I can't become that to make you happy. And then I'm miserable.
And on the other side of that is, this is what I need from you for me to be comfortable in the longevity of this relationship. I need you to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need you to open up your mouth. I need you to be involved in the children's lives. I need you to verbalize.
And it's vulnerability. You have to be vulnerable.
Right. I'm not going to do everything for everybody in this house and then go in my secret place and cry and ask for God for help. My help is right there. I need to communicate. Children, you have this responsibility. Husband, you have that. Dog, you have this responsibility. Everybody. So it's, you learn how to express yourself without feeling guilty for having expectations.
What's the next one? How do you support a significant other through addiction and recovery? By
making sure that they go have
by realizing you can't do it.
That's right.
Number one, you can't change them and you can't get them clean. Well, it takes a village. You notice why the show is so popular. Addiction, that's the intervention. Why is intervention so popular? Because the family realized we can't stop this person from doing drugs. And what they do, they call an outsider who is not going to have emotional attachments. That outsider come right in there, sit flat foot and say, you need to come with us today. The family is telling, oh, please, we don't know. And they crying. That other guy sitting there looking at him like this because he or she has no attachments, which means if someone's going to get free, most likely they will not get free by loved ones. Absolutely. Loved ones will keep them on drugs. You've got to turn them over to people who are not going to have those attachments, those emotional attachments that prevents them, because they play on your emotions, they play on your help, they play on your love, they're going to pull your heartstrings. If somebody addicted to drugs, they're going to say anything to get what they need. And you have to realize that your little feelings get hurt. I just finished watching Jungle Fever with Spike Lee, and Gator was the Ruby Dee's son, which was Samuel Jackson, and he was on crack. And he knew how to play his mama, and she would give him money. And eventually the dad had to kill him because the dad was sick of his games. He had detached emotionally. Loved ones will never help someone who's addicted. It takes somebody who don't love them like you. Next question.
Guess I have to watch.
What about villages that have blended families?
Oh, I love that. Villages that have blended families have to acknowledge that it's a village with blended families, for one. In that sense, the two spouses have to come and be on the same page and share those expectations with the children of the blended families. And it takes time. Not all blended families work out. But I think that is too also from the lack of support or not knowing how to execute the needs or execute the actions that need to take place. Where if I'm a single parent, my responsibility is to get my children, if I'm a single mother, my children ready for coming into being a part of a blended family and learning that they are still individuals. Not making everything be, oh, this is family and this your new sister, this your little brother, and you don't have a choice. That is dogmatic, and that is making them feel like now I have to,
It need to be
instead of
organic and
inviting
authentic.
them.
Yeah.
And it takes time. So if you already are a blended family, start afresh. Start with opening up and saying, I'm sorry, we made a mistake, or getting ready to, you have to communicate. And when it comes to blended families, you have to be realistic enough to know that these children know that that's not my biological mother or father, and take it as that. The hardest thing for a child to do is to stomach when a parent or a step parent is trying to make them call them mother or father.
Yeah.
I have never made my kids, never, ever. I've never said, you're going to call me such.
They came up with their own name, and then all of a sudden one day they start saying mom.
Right.
And we were okay with their timeline, and we were okay with their processing. And we let them process that.
Right. No, Portia, I've never seen Jungle Fever.
That's why I was smiling over here. She never seen that. It's so sad. When I told y'all we are opposites, I'm telling you, she watches British shows, and are the 1800s is her. I'm in the 17th. She's in the 17th century right now. She lives in the 17th, 18th century. Can someone be too saved in a you know? And it's funny because Sam is asking that. That's why I'm laughing. I don't know how to answer that, Sam, because I don't know what to save would be. To one person is this, to another person is that. What I will say is communication is critical, so that you can voice, that you or that other person can voice what you with and what you're not with.
Right.
Like I always tell people, okay, if you are that type of that saved person that, I don't want to hear no music but church music, I don't want to hear that. This is something y'all should have known. You should know that how that person is. And you're the person like, well, dang, I mean, if we try to have a romantic night, we don't want to hear James Cleveland, Peace Be Still. Don't nobody want to hear that riding in the car. We want to hear Luther or something like that. That's that love songs. And I tell people, I don't think nothing's wrong with songs, as long as love songs, as long as they don't violate what we believe in scripture. There's nothing wrong with love songs at all. Matter of fact, for those of you who say worldly music, every movie you watch has worldly music. Do you cut that movie off? Do you turn that movie off because worldly music? Come on. No, you listen to it and bump it. Cussing is in every movie we watch right about now. If you're going to watch 10 movies or 10 shows, 9 out of 10 are going to have cuss words in it. So what's the difference from those cuss words and the cuss words on songs? So I'm just saying, like, that's those lines that people be tripping about, that what is too holy is what I'm saying. You just need to communicate and say what you like and what you don't like, what you with and what you're not with. And I think then you need to do that up front while y'all are getting to know each other, so you can make that decision.
With you a little bit, because you were not balanced
at all.
My husband was not balanced
at all.
So can someone be too saved? I wouldn't say that he was too saved. He was unbalanced. And it took me to be who I was and not willing to lose me in order to be with him. And the best thing that he could have ever said was to say, be yourself. And so being myself allowed me to teach him that you don't have to wear hard bottoms everywhere we go. A lot of the people don't know in these probably 5-6
Why you gotta
years.
come close to the
Well,
mic like
because I
that?
think I want to emphasize it. It's just my husband was the preacher's preacher. Everything. Our first couple of
Oh,
phone
stop
dates,
it.
we was talking about Mary and Mary. My baby leaped, but I love that because the balance came. Do you remember that? The balance
No
came
comment.
from him having what I needed and I having what he needed, and that we learned how to take from one another without being bankrupt, but still feeling that we were true to ourselves.
Yeah, I get it. So that's it. That what we got any? Okay, is it safe to say trauma puts you in a state of denial?
It is not. It is. It is. Is it safe to say that? It's not necessarily safe, but it's true. And that means that because bad behavior from trauma should not be accepted. We don't know that we are displaying such characteristics of behavior because of trauma, and that's why it's so important to be connected with authentic people, people who truly love you in spite of your trauma or your traumatic experiences, because they see that you're trying to be a better version of yourself. But if you're popping off, if you're disrespectful, if you're just angry, if you just want to just fight just to fight, if you want to be passive aggressive just because, I don't have to accept that behavior from you. And because you experience trauma, that is not a reason for you to get away, that I'm going to enable your bad behavior. I'm not going to be the mom and say, oh, he didn't mean to because he had a bad experience when he was 2 and he stomped his toes, so now he doesn't like to wear shoes. If you don't go put on those
Put on them shoes, I know something.
we will deal with that later. But it's to teach people how to act, and that comes with repetition and compassion, to let them know that I know what you've experienced, but you can't sit and act like this does not contribute to the way that you respond. You cannot divert this and say that it's something else, when really it's just because you experience what you experience at your early age.
Is that it, Nick? Okay. So this is number 4, and we're number 5. We're done. And I think you kind of talked about it, but we'll sum it up with this: drawing a line when loving someone else. Where's the line drawn so that, in other words, how long do you support? How long do you be there? How long do you stand in that gap?
Well, I don't know if there's a time frame with one who is trying to be better. Now, what I can't do in enabling is I cannot be there for you every single time, knowing that you're doing nothing to change the situation or your complaint. So our conversations and me pouring into you becomes for what? Because you're not willing to do anything about that. You have to start saying, I love you, but I won't do this for you. I love you, but I will not continue having this same conversation with no results.
That's what they're saying in the show Intervention. There is nothing I wouldn't do to help you recover, but there is nothing that I'm going to do to allow you to remain.
Right.
And I thought that was so dope, like letting you know I'll do everything I can to help you recover and get where you need to be. But I'm not going to sit here while you just want to die, don't want to live, don't want to do anything.
Yeah, because we don't know how to get past people's tears or the emotions, because then guilt, all of that is like a flood. That what do we do with knowing that love does not mean sacrificing yourself?
Yeah, that's good.
Entirely. You sacrifice, but not
entirely. Your whole self.
Not entirely.
Yeah.
So
I like that. We make sacrifices, but I'm not sacrificing myself.
Right. That means that, again, every single time someone calls, I drop what I'm doing. I could be in the middle of date night. You better not answer that telephone for who, So offering help within healthy limits, not at the expense of your well-being, not at the expense of your relationships, not at the expense of losing yourself. You know how many spouses are upset with the other spouse, because as soon as a sister call, we got to talk. Well, we were in the middle of a conversation, or children, or appendages of us that call, and have you been around somebody and every time the phone rang they have to answer? That means that you have become dependent on being needed.
That's good there. That's good there.
But then we'll be knocked out, good, and you have nothing for this significant other.
You need to be needed.
You need to be needed.
Good.
And you know why?
Ignoring the one who needs you the most,
which is yourself.
Yourself or spouse, or whatever.
Right. Wow. So you recognize when support turns into enablement and choosing to step back with love. That's drawing the line.
That's good.
I see that I'm supporting you, but this support now is turning into enablement. So let me press the brakes and let me step back with love. It's still with love. And then you have to learn how to walk away or enforce those boundaries. That's the most loving thing that you can do, even through the pain.
It's what?
Is enforcing the boundaries.
See,
although I know that I can
see boundaries. The books I was reading on psychology, and one of the things it says is boundaries aren't threats. That's what a danger when you're using the boundary as a threat.
Mm-hmm.
No, boundaries are supposed to be boundaries, and when you cross them, they're supposed to have consequences. If you say, if you talk to me like that one more time, I'm not talking to you the rest of the day. And the person say, whatever, and they talk to you like that, then you need to not communicate with them for the rest of the day. Mm-hmm. Even if they apologize, tell them, I accept your apology, but I still ain't talking to you till tomorrow. Mm-hmm. What does that mean? Oh, that's rude. No, I had that boundary set up there for a reason. It wasn't punishment to you. It was to protect me. But my boundary is not a boundary if I don't enforce the consequences of that boundary. Yeah, boundaries aren't so that you can punish someone. It's not for punishment. Boundaries aren't for punishment. They are for protection of yourself. Mm-hmm. You got something you want to say? So before you was looking up something?
No, I was just in examples of support versus, but I can share those with my notes.
So listen, did this help anybody? Would you put something in the comments to let us know it helped you? And while you're doing that, it's 80 people on here. I want 80 people to come back because we're going to pray. And I want to pray for you and your relationships. But I want you to sow. I want you to grab a $35 seed for those who can. If you can't, then sow whatever the Lord puts on your heart. But sow a $35 seed into good ground, and so that you could be. So I believe God is setting us up for something amazing, and we are positioning ourselves for that. So go ahead and do that real quick. Put the giving options up. Let's do that real quick. And while you're giving, as soon as you have sown, would you put in the comments, I've sown my seed? Amen. Would you put in the comments, I have sown my seed? Glory to God. Has it? I hope. Let me see. Great message. Did it? This message was so good, powerful, awesome. Martha, everything. Angela, yes, Lord, this is very helpful. I see you. Awesome, Dr. Marilyn. Very good. Hi, Smith. Good message. I see you. I hope it really blessed you. I hope it really helped you. Get that seed in the ground, and we're getting ready to come. I'm about to pray for you in 2 minutes. I am going to pray for you in 2 minutes. And I'm getting ready to pray for you in 1 minute and 30 seconds. I want to lift you up for your relationships. And are these all month we're dealing with this? Has this been good? I have thoroughly enjoyed talking with Pastor K, with you all. And these aren't scripted or fake. Like, we're telling you where we struggled at and the challenges we have. We're talking about ourselves, and those are important and I believe we went through to help you. And so because of that, we wanted to share, and I think it's going to be helpful. We're going to see what the Lord said. I think next Wednesday we're going to deal real deeply with parenting, where we are struggling at, because parenting adult children is a challenge. Not because the children are bad or worse than us. It's just making that adjustment. I think there's an adjustment when your children cross a threshold to now you have to respect certain aspects of their life. And we're going to talk about that next week. I feel that I think I just got to release, because we got to talk about certain aspects of their lives that they possibly don't want you in no more. And can you help that? Can you accept that? And can you embrace that? And can you sit in that? And can you adjust to become what they need in that season and not overstep those boundaries? That's where it gets tough. Because with the little babies you have, they don't really have no choice. You all up in their sauce. But when they get older, there's certain spaces they don't want you in. And how much of a parent do you respect those places? Even if they're bad places, you have to step back and respect those places. And that's tough. That's tough. But it's doable. And we're going to talk about it next week. Your hair looks so good, babes. I want to pray for the people.
Don't pat it like that.
I did like this. Looks so good. It. I'm sorry. But did you miss? I said it looked so good.
I did, because my plaits hurt and you patted it.
But do you like that I said it looked so good? Let's pray. I want to pray. It's 64 people. They're so disobedient. Let's pray. Father, I thank you for tonight. Thank you for all month.
Thank you.
I am praying that those who are listening are processing relationships and desiring, and you meet them at the level of their desire to become a better person, a better father, a better mother, a better husband, a better wife, a better sister, a better brother, a better cousin, a better believer. And Father, I thank you now that you're giving us the grace to do it.
Yes, God.
Now touch them and bless us. Have your way in us. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen. Amen.
Love,
amen.
Peace, and hair grease.
Minister Linda, check your messages.
We on a broadcast, Minister. God bless. See y'all.